Okay, so welcome everybody to 2A Radio. My name is Willie Dillon. We have a financial professional here today who specializes in the insurance sector. I have my co-host here, Mr. Choo Choo Alex Jones, and we're going to be discussing the topic: How does insurance build generational wealth? And so, our questions are going to be posed to Mr. Borby Bople, who is the financial professional and who he specializes in insurance. Alex, is there anything you would like to say?
Yeah, no, it's exciting. Monday evening. Be glad to have Mr. Brobre on the phone and in the presence. And we're going to be discussing insurance, as you rightly said, and which covers our total financial, discussion on how to build wealth. And I think this goes right into how to maintain our wealth. So, without further ado, let's get it going.
Okay, Mr. Bople, glad to have you today. Would just like to start with you introducing yourself, letting us know who you are, letting our viewers know who you are, and what you do. How did you get into this field, and we can go from there.
Well, thank you very much, Willie and Choo Choo. I'm glad to be here this evening on 2A Radio TV. It's definitely a pleasure being on a Liberian TV station, online TV station. My name is Borby Brople, and I've been a financial professional. I've been in the financial space for almost 2 decades. It's something that I love. I enjoy doing. I like helping people, and this falls right into my area of expertise, which is financial education and literacy. And so it's a pleasure to be here. I'm eager to share the knowledge that I have. I'm eager to hear questions from you guys as hosts and also the audience. And hopefully this way I can contribute, to developing our people. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. So let's get
My
right to
pleasure.
it. Let's get right to it. The first thing I wanted to uh, ask you is just to let us know what is insurance and why do you think it is important for us generally or just the Liberian community?
Well, insurance, I mean, I'll just kind of give you an insurance 101. And insurance is basically a contract. I'll talk specifically about life insurance because that's my area of expertise. You also have property and casualty, or what people refer to as home and auto insurance. That's a different branch of insurance, and then you have health insurance, which is also a different branch of insurance. I am qualified to do life and health.
Okay.
Okay. Insurance is basically a contract, Willie, between an insurer, which is the company, and an insured, somebody who is purchasing insurance or who has the insurance, where you make an agreement with the insurer that if you pay a certain amount of money, which is called premiums, when you die, a beneficiary will get your insurance death benefit. Simple as that, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
all the parts of the contract obviously have to work for
Okay.
that payout to happen. If you stop paying and the policy lapses, then obviously the contract is automatically broken, right?
Okay. What happens in that instance?
Well, quite frankly, Willie, same thing that happens when any contract is broken. It just becomes null and void, and you don't. If something were to happen to you, your beneficiary would not get that payout. They won't get the death benefit.
Okay.
That's a very important question you ask because I think it's one of the most fundamental things people wonder about is how does insurance work? But thank you for that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. One of the major concerns I've had, just talking to people about insurance prior to us having the show, is a lot of people view insurance as something like where you pay into it, you just pay, and then you don't get anything out of it. So we're trying to actually find out. Okay, we're paying and we get a benefit. Okay, but how does it really generate wealth? Can we actually generate wealth, or is it just something to cover the death expenses, or the cost of any final expenses that the person may have, and then that's it?
I mean, life insurance definitely can help you generate wealth. But let me backtrack a little. You know, a lot of people, especially from our community, coming from a country where life insurance was not uh, it was not really taught. Okay, it wasn't really a culture. It wasn't part of our culture for everybody to be covered with life insurance. This is something that I have had to learn everything I know about insurance in this country.
Hmm.
Okay. I didn't learn, I came to the US as an adult, so I didn't learn any of this stuff. In fact, most things in financial services I had to learn here.
Hmm.
Okay. So that is one of the things that's driving me to try to get this information out to everybody else. People just like me, who our parents never taught us the value of having insurance. But here we are in America, where this is not a temporary arrangement anymore. Coming to America was like, hey, you go to school like my parents did, and after you graduate, you go back home, right?
Yeah.
So this was a temporary stay. Uh, Now, Choo, uh,
You
on
start.
average, I think people have been here for probably 25 to 30 years now.
Yes.
Okay. So we're here to stay. So things like when it comes to financial services, we need to start paying attention and try to understand how this thing works. Or, you even have people saying that I do not intend to retire here. I'm going back to Liberia to retire. Um, I used to think that was viable. It was a good possibility, but just judging from my personal experience with my mom, um, she retired, went to Liberia, stayed a few years, but it ended up coming back because Chuchu, you know about the health care situation in
Right,
Liberia.
right,
Um, I mean, it's just tough. And then the security situation, I think what happened was there was a question of her not being able to come back. It was when this pandemic broke out.
right.
Not
Okay.
this one. I think it was
Ebola,
Ebola.
Ebola.
Yeah. It got to a point where I think they were closing the borders or something. It just, man. So anyway, she ended up coming back, but as far as what life insurance does for you, um, and this is to your question, Willie, I want to read a poem. Is life insurance a waste of time, or there's something called the life insurance poem. Let me read it to you. I am your life insurance policy. You and I have similar purposes in this world. It is your job to provide food, clothing, shelter, schooling, medicine, and other things for your loved ones. You do this while I lie in your safe deposit box. Okay? I have faith and trust in you. Out of your earnings will come the costs for my upkeep. At times, I may appear insignificant to you, but someday, and who knows when, you and I will change places. When you are laid to rest, I will come alive and do your job.
Mm.
I may provide food, clothing, shelter, schooling, medicine, and other things your family will continue to need, just as you are doing now. When your work and your labor are done, mine will begin. Through me, your hands can carry on. Whenever you feel the price you're paying for my upkeep is burdensome, remember that I can do more for you and your family than you will ever do for me. If you do your part, I will do mine. Sincerely yours, your life insurance policy. I hope that kind of clarifies
It's
things.
it's a lovely poem.
Yeah,
I
that-
don't take
that's
credit for
good.
it. I got it from
You got
someone.
it for silver. So, Bobby, I have a question. It's a
Yeah.
stigma in the African American community, the Black community, the African community that when you buy life insurance, then you got to watch out because your beneficiaries or you get that fear. So, what do you say, about that? That to calm people's fear about we're all going to go one day, and especially if you have kids and you have a parent that you're taking care of or family members, that
Mhm.
this is a good worthy investment. How do you combat those fears and those stigmas?
Yeah. Chuchu, that's an excellent question. And I can't say that I haven't had
Mhm.
clients tell me that. Um, it's a cultural mindset, and it requires education.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
constantly talking about the values and benefits of this thing we call insurance.
Mhm.
First of all, when it comes to insurance, you have to love the people you're covering. I'm sorry, you have to love the people that you're putting on as beneficiaries.
Okay.
Okay, if you don't love your family that much, or whoever it is you're putting on as beneficiaries, then we're wasting our time here talking about life insurance. You're not gonna do it. Okay, I would talk to some clients and they'll say, "Man, if I die, can you imagine this? If I die, my wife and my kids, they will only suffer for a little bit, but they will figure it out." Somebody told me that.
Wow.
And I was like,
Wow.
how can you say something like that? If you die, your wife and your family will figure it out. Another person told me if I die, I have a $10,000 policy. It's just enough to bury me, and then my wife and my family will figure it out.
Wow. Wow.
Okay, I don't have that mindset
Mhm.
right now as I sit here, just because of all the education that I've received on life insurance. Um, and by the way, you know, I think it's just a figment of the imagination to think that because you get life, I think it's just an excuse to
Right.
think that because you get life insurance, somebody's gonna kill you.
Mhm.
Um, what about everything else that you own? You know, people gonna kill you for every valuable thing that you have,
Right.
right?
Mm.
Um, a lot of times we take life insurance to be sort of this huge windfall, like something like winning the lottery or something
Right.
like that,
Right.
where it's a large amount of money, and but think of it this way: what if you get life insurance, and then
Mhm.
you put life insurance on your wife, you put life insurance on your kids and everybody, which is how it should be.
Mhm.
If everybody had life insurance, would they really be thinking about life insurance as such, you know, a big thing that is so special that, oh my God, I can't wait for you to die so I can get it? You know, I think, and this is just my personal opinion, I'm not a medical professional
Mhm.
or mental health professional, but I think people kill each other regardless of life insurance. Yeah, there are people who are disturbed. Just the other day, yesterday, I think,
Mhm.
somebody got shot in Atlanta.
Mhm.
Okay, I live in Atlanta, Georgia. You know, people driving up to young people and shooting them, right?
Hmm.
Okay, if somebody has the capacity to kill somebody else, then maybe they'll kill for life insurance. I don't know, but you don't hear about that.
Right. Right.
People dying from no.
Yeah, and I wanted us to go into other types of life insurance. Like I did a little bit, so you're the expert. Correct me. It's been so long, but
Okay.
I know there are policies for very small amounts, right? Premium,
Mm-hmm.
very small premium, where I know the term life, and
Yeah.
then there are other, kinds of life insurance where you can actually use whole life and other aspects. Maybe you can go into that a little bit, where it can become an investment while you live or a savings while you live.
Yes. So there are two types of life insurance. Basically, there's the temporary,
Hmm.
sometimes called term,
Hmm.
and then there's the permanent.
Correct.
There are different types of permanent. The
Correct.
most common one people know about is whole life.
Okay.
Whole life is a type of permanent insurance, but you also have index universal life and variable universal life, and then you
Right.
have final expense
Okay.
insurance. Okay, all right. So let me deal with term life insurance first. Like the name suggests, it lasts for a term. It
Okay.
could be 10 years, it could be 15 years, 20 years, 25, usually up to 30 years.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what happens when your term insurance expires? Well, when the term insurance expires, usually there's a clause to renew it,
Okay.
but at a much higher price.
Because you're
In
older.
fact, yeah, yeah, not only, well, you're older, yeah, but I don't know, the price is just much higher
Okay.
if you decide to renew that term insurance. I mean, we're talking like in some cases 10 times the cost,
Okay.
Wow.
right?
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't know of anybody that I know of one person that only one person I've seen, one kind that decided to pay that high price and continue simply because their health had deteriorated so bad they
Okay.
could not get a new policy. So
Okay.
they were stuck with the old one. Okay. But usually, people, once the term expires,
Right.
people just let the policy go and get a
But
new
but
one.
then that doesn't make much sense because you invested all this money for 30 years or 20 years, and you invested it for you that when you are dead, your family would get it. So why wouldn't you want to renew or get another policy, which is the essence of getting the life insurance?
Yeah. So the idea is to get a new one,
Okay.
obviously, because when it in terms of life insurance, I'm glad I read that poem in the beginning
Right.
because that's what the policy is supposed to serve you when you're not around, when you die.
Correct. Correct.
Now, when it comes to term policies, because there's a term and
Hmm.
the policy has the likelihood of expiring even before you die, not only that, but usually people don't die within the term of the policy.
Okay.
Only 20% of of insureds is how you call people that
Hmm.
have a policy. Only 20% actually die within the term.
Okay.
So because of that, the price of the term is very low. It's the cheapest.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
as it has a that's a good and that's a bad.
Okay.
The good
So,
is that
So
okay,
give us
it's
a
affordable.
sample. Give us a sample. The average
Uh-huh.
terms of the premium, like how much would you know, like a regular person would pay to get maybe like $100,000 or $50,000 their death benefits. Just a ballpark. I know it has a lot of factors.
Okay, somebody with good health.
Okay.
That means you're not taking prescription medicine, you're not overweight, you
Mhm.
don't have things going on like diabetes or,
Mhm.
high blood pressure. $500,000 policy for a
a term life.
25-year-old, let's say a 30-year-old lady,
Okay.
be something like $25 a month
Oh, that's nothing.
for 30 years.
For
Yeah, it's
30
very
years.
cheap for 30 years. And for a man, it will be about $30 a month.
Okay.
Yeah, the price for men is
Okay.
a
So
little bit more than women.
we got a higher risk than the women now. So that's why y'all that's why you guys are lowering.
Yeah, but you can go to war.
Yeah.
Right.
If somebody make you vex,
You can
you get someone in a fight.
Yeah.
Men are just, I don't know why, but obviously they're looking at life expectancy.
Okay.
Women live longer than men, so the
Uh-huh.
insurance will be cheaper.
Okay.
But with that being said, it's very interesting. So most people don't die within the term of their policy, like I told you, only 20%, right?
Right.
So because of that, the price is cheaper. So that's a good thing, because if you're in a position where you cannot afford to put in more money into a life insurance policy, then you get the term.
Mhm.
Number one. Number two, what if a lot of people use term just to cover a certain type of expense in their life? For instance, if you buy a house, you
Right.
get a 30-year mortgage.
Right.
Okay, I'm not gonna get, and I want to make sure that if something happened to me, my family can take the money and buy off the house, right?
Okay.
I'm not gonna go get a permanent policy for that. I'll just get a 30-year term because it's cheap and it's just covering my house.
That makes sense.
When the 30-year mortgage is over, my term is over, it's gone. I don't have any, I don't care. So so that's the benefit of term life insurance. Now there's a lot of companies have convertible term,
Right.
meaning that it starts off at as a term, but then later on you can convert it to a permanent. So again, that's a good place to start if you don't have the money for permanent. And I'm stressing on this because man, let's be honest, a lot of people don't have a lot of money. People are
Right.
living paycheck to paycheck. Okay? So you don't want to put somebody in a position where they got to decide whether or not they want to get life insurance because they have other bills to pay. Everybody should have life insurance, especially if you have people that you love, like kids, spouses and relatives. If you are, I know a client that put her church as the beneficiary of her policy. $1 million.
Wow.
$1 million. The church is going to get it. And a lot of people don't know this. If I was a pastor or, a church leader, I would encourage people in the church to get life insurance. You don't have to give your whole death benefit to the church, but you can give a percentage, 10%.
Right.
Okay. And for most people, that 10% is more money than they contributed throughout the whole life of their whole existence in that church. I mean, if you don't have money to give every Sunday at least, man,
When you're not around, let's make sure that you take care of something. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes
the church doesn't have to give your family money.
Right.
Exactly.
Give that one back to the church. It's not gonna. It's
exactly.
the same thing. It's not gonna cost you anything more, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I can let you guys come in and ask some questions. Then I will talk a little bit about the permanent side. But go ahead.
Okay. So, Borby, Mr. Bople, this is the Business and Economic Forum. So,
okay,
I'm gonna try to pose a question for our entrepreneurs out there that may be thinking, because the entrepreneurs are always finding ways on how they can make this work for them, maybe while they're still alive, right?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
So, I mean, is it possible that, let's say I was an entrepreneur, hypothetically, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got this nest egg that this thing is building up. Can I borrow against it? Maybe, and take care of some expenses and maybe put it back? And that will help me, generate more profit, help my business grow. Is that out of the question? Can you please expand on that, please?
Oh yeah, it's absolutely doable. Not for the temporary life insurance we're talking about, the term. Okay. That one is just life insurance. The only thing you can benefit while you're alive from a term policy is many companies have what they call living benefits. Okay. That means you are alive, but while you got the policy, maybe you get cancer, okay, or stroke, heart attack, end stage renal failure, dialysis, basically, amputation of more than one limb, things of that nature. You are allowed to tap into the life insurance policy and use it while you're still alive.
Right. Which is the benefit. So let's say your benefit is $500,000. You could get some of that benefit, maybe $50K.
Yes.
Yes. Good.
Up to 90% of that money, depending on the type of living benefit you have. Now, there's also one of the living benefits is terminal illness.
Okay.
So if you have most insurance policies have a terminal illness rider. That means that the doctor says you have less than 12 months to live.
Right.
Most companies will pay the whole thing out.
But that's excellent, because at least you're alive and you can then determine, okay, this other son here, you're not too correct, so I would have gave you this about.
Yes.
And
but do you know how many people, Mr. Jones, do you know how many people don't know that?
I didn't know that.
You know how many people died and they had a policy they could have taken some from, they never knew?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Man, I hope people out there are hearing this.
Yeah. No, excellent. And that's why this show is for, because we want to bring the experts. And people think when you're in finance, then you know everything.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? And so we try to bring people with specifics, there's somebody who know treasury, there's somebody who know insurance. So when I need question, I hope you come back again. I can call you. Hopefully you get your number, your business, everything. And so, and our viewers, you want questions on these things, call the expert or call us. We'll give you the expert to talk to, because I'm there a lot.
And please, towards the end of this, we want you to
really like that.
Towards the end of this, we want you to give your information out as far as how people can contact you. And so, they'll be able to, get in contact with you. You can help them out.
Absolutely.
So we all, as men or adults, we wear different hats, right? So I asked the last question from the standpoint of an entrepreneur. Now I'm going to ask this question from the standpoint of a family man, right? Of which I think we all are. Now let's say I have 5 children.
Yeah.
And I got let's say I got one son there. He looking kind of risky, It seems like this guy look like he gonna go soon, So I want to insure this man, right? Or I want to insure all these children. That means I'm taking out separate insurance on each one, right? That might be a lot. So I want you to explain about a rider. What is a rider? How can that help how can I get a little bit of coverage on each one of these children without having to spend a lot of money? Please talk about that.
All right. So I will talk about the child rider, but I feel like we should jump in and talk about the permanent insurance, because your first question was how can you borrow money?
Right.
How can you borrow? No. I like the way the questions are coming in. I'll start with the rider first. So if you have kids that are juvenile, which means under 18, right? In some cases under 21, you can add them onto your life insurance policy as a child rider. Okay, it will take the price up a little bit, and usually you're not going to list all the children on there. You just put the rider. If you have 3 kids, they're all covered. You have 5 kids, they're all covered. Okay, and it's normally up to $25,000 per child.
Okay,
that's just for death. If this child tragically passes away, then the insurance company will give you $25,000. It's not coming out of your death benefit. That's just a child rider. You pay extra for it.
All right.
Now, be careful with that, because once the child becomes an adult, they get off the rider. They get off your policy. Now they got to go get their own life insurance policy. I feel, in my opinion, that it's better to get your kids their own policy while they're young.
And why is that?
I got too many examples of instances where kids could not be insured later on.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Some kids gain so much weight that their height and weight ratio does not allow them to get a life insurance policy or a cheap one, right? Some kids develop stuff
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
You know, all these different illnesses. Watch TV. You know, when the drug companies are showing a commercial, kids go through stuff. Kids get cancer. Okay, so
Mhm.
why not have your kids covered so that they never have to go through that medical review again? They're
Right.
covered for life.
Okay. Okay.
Kids cannot get term policies. They can only get permanent policies, so they're good, right? Okay, now let me segue into permanent life insurance because that's where you get benefits like cash value and taking money out
Mhm.
and all that kind of thing. So I think the goal for most people is to get some type of permanent policy
Okay.
because it will stay with you for your whole life. In fact, that's why they call that type
Right.
of they call it whole life for that particular for one of those permanent policies. And you're putting in more money. So instead of putting in $25 a month
Mhm.
for a $500,000 policy on a term, you could be putting in as much as maybe 200 or 250 a month in a permanent policy.
Okay.
Okay, now a lot of people get taken aback. Whoa,
Mhm.
250, especially if you're talking to somebody that has never really learned about life insurance and don't have experience with it.
Mhm.
Okay, this person watched TV yesterday and they saw some commercial. Oh, your life insurance can start at $9.99. So that's what they're
Right.
thinking about. Life insurance would be $9.99. You talking about 250?
Right.
But get this though, that $250, a large portion of that is actually going into a savings bucket within
Yeah.
that life insurance policy for you.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, and the way I get people to understand it, even though I don't sell 401k plans because I'm not licensed to do that, but this is just for educational purposes. How much do you contribute to your 401k? And then people start thinking, oh, you know what? Yeah, actually, it's actually $200 per pay period. So that's $400.
Right.
Or $250 per pay period, or $500. Some people contribute as much as $500 per pay period.
Right.
I say, okay, where does that money go? Well, it goes into the 401k policy, and then it will grow. And I said, okay, this works not exactly the same, but similar.
Okay.
Because that bucket that is in it has an interest rate that is going to be growing,
All right.
and that is where you can borrow money from. Now, with that being said, people think that I'm going to start my life insurance today and in 2 weeks time I'm borrowing from. No, please.
That's not Susu.
Now that's Susu Club.
This is a long-term investment, please. It's all about education, Mr. Dillon.
And that's why we have you here.
So, I mean, when you say long term, what a reasonable time? 1-2 years. If you put
No,
it. So what's the
no.
minimum time
I'm
people should
thinking like 10, 20 years.
10, 20 years? So that's a lot of money.
Depending on how much you're putting in.
How much you put in? Okay.
You got the bare minimum, and then those policies usually have a max.
Okay.
I'm talking about the IUL.
Okay.
When you're working with a policy like a whole life policy, the premium is fixed. You can't put more or less into it. It's fixed.
Right.
It's an older type of life insurance, whole life.
All
The
right.
new one is the IUL. That's the one that I have,
Okay.
where you can
They
give you
acronym. What does that mean? The IUL.
Oh, an IUL. Thank you so much. It's an indexed universal life
Okay.
insurance.
So what's index?
The indexed universal life. They're just talking about where they're saving your money.
Okay. The reason I want to say that because we want to educate people. So like the Dow Jones Dow Jones Industrial Average, the S&P 500.
Yeah.
So if that growing
Now,
7%, that will help you. Okay, good.
Yeah. So you're absolutely right with that. The main difference between the indexed universal life and another kind called VUL, as variable universal life,
Okay.
is that one of them, the money is invested in the stock market.
Okay.
So it goes up and down, just like you see the
Okay.
Dow Jones or the S&P.
Right.
The
With the
saving
index,
component goes up and down, or do you mean that
yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
I
the
pay-
saving
Your
component goes up and down.
401k, your 401k goes up and down with the Dow Jones
Yeah.
investment, same thing, right? And then can you speak a little bit about annuities? I know it's part of that permanent. I like the annuities. Like,
Yeah,
you give us what
yeah,
that
yeah,
means and how people can take advantage of that.
Okay, I will touch on annuities too. But just to conclude with the permanent life insurance,
All right.
a lot of folks, the permanent life insurance, the IUL, the Index Universal Life, has to be designed properly.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, it has to be well designed. Anybody can just open up a life insurance policy. But if somebody, for instance, Mr. Jones, wants to start taking money out after 5 years, or usually people look at their kids.
Right.
Okay, my child is going to be 18 in 7 or 8 years. I want
Okay.
to be able to take money from here and help to fund their college tuition.
Right.
Okay, then we have something called an illustration, which is like an example of how it will perform over the 7 years if you put a certain amount of money in. Now, obviously, we don't know how things are going to be, but usually there's something called a 20-year look back, where if you put in your money in a certain index over the last 20 years, how did it perform? Okay, and then we just take an average and
So
kind
projection,
of
pretty much.
project that, okay, maybe it will do this amount in the next 20 years. I mean, in the next 20 years. So
Okay.
so you do that, and then you say, okay, look, if you put in $100 a month, you're not going to be able to pull anything out in 7 years. But if you put in $300 a month, you'll be able to pull money out.
Okay.
Now, this is not a savings account, is what I tell people. Your insurance policy is not a savings account. The benefit, I think the number one benefit of saving money in an insurance policy is just taxes.
Okay.
Because money that's in the insurance policy is tax-free, generally.
So it's good.
If the person dies, everything is going to the beneficiary tax-free.
Okay.
So
I thought it was
we'll
tax
come back.
deferred, but it's tax free. That's great.
It's
Okay.
tax-free, yeah. You're taking money out of a taxable account, which is your bank account or wherever,
Right.
and you're putting it in this insurance policy. Insurance policies have tax benefits. Nothing else does, in my opinion.
Correct. Because
When I talk about generational wealth, how people use the insurance policy for generational wealth. But go ahead, Mr. Jones.
so what I was saying is because you said that when you take money out of your account, it's already taxed. But when you invest, where you're already taxed money, you still pay capital gains tax. But insurance,
So
you don't have to pay anything. So that's even a better. You're talking about 18 to 25% that you're going to be saving in any case. So yeah, pretty good.
I mean, I'm glad you mentioned that there are 3 ways your money gets taxed. Okay.
Right.
What you just mentioned, you put your money in the bank,
Correct.
it gets taxed. Checking, savings, CDs, whatever. You buy stocks, you'll get taxed.
Right.
You put your money in a
Real estate.
mutual fund, in real estate, you'll get taxed.
Right.
So that's taxable. 80% of the population in this country keep most of the money in a taxable account.
Correct.
Oh.
They pay you, your employer, the government take out taxes before you even get your salary. You get your salary, you put it in the bank, they tax it again on the gains. You take the money out, you go to Walmart, they tax you for the 3rd time. How many times did you just get taxed?
Right. But you know something. Speaking of it, you're speaking as a very good financial planning policy, because what most people would do, right? They have a savings account, they are working, and they will always say, "Oh, let me save something in case something happens to me, so my children can have something."
Yes.
So insurance if you got well covered, right? Because you can't save practically $500,000. I don't know anybody who can do that in an average working person, or even $300,000. But if you can get a policy for that amount, which means that if something did happen to you, you don't have to worry because now it's tax free.
Yes.
And for the same reason you're putting money aside, that's covered. So you part
no probate
of that because hey, if something happens to me, these people are covered. Just pay that premium every month, and you don't have to worry about it. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, Mr. Jones, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, if you're a presidential aspirant, I think Liberia would be in a good place.
You know,
I
think we're adding 10, 15 more minutes because I wanted to talk to you. You've been talking a lot about, okay, you know, selling insurance. I want you to talk about the industry as a whole. You know, we always hear about William Buffett, you know, and he has a lot of insurance. And, you know, I know National Social Security in Liberia is there that collects money from the government workers and people. So what is the potential for more Liberians, including yourself, to start looking at, you know, a time sooner rather than later where we can say, you know what, instead of getting a guy from Nigeria to come to Liberia or the insurance company, what's the possibility? Because this is one of the largest industry, I think, or the largest sector of the financial industry. So tell us what side.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Insurance is very large. Financial services,
right,
is large. It's extremely large. It's larger than the military industry, healthcare, and probably pharmaceuticals all put together.
Right.
Financial services is still larger than that. Yeah, absolutely. And so, you know, when it comes to you mentioned, you know, investors like Warren Buffett, but let me take you back a little bit of what life insurance, let's just say the permanent life insurance has done for major companies like J.C. Penney.
Right.
That's what kept that company afloat. McDonald's. They have very large life insurance. Have you heard of the Bank of America, Wells Fargo, U.S. Bank?
Correct. All these banks, right?
Those guys have billions of dollars in life insurance assets. Billions.
Wow.
Bank of America is nearly $20 billion in life insurance. So these are things that if you don't know, you're not going to know.
Correct.
Right? And that's why knowledge is important. There's a book that I could let me recommend a book. It's called Money, Wealth, Life Insurance. And this book was written by I'll think of the name. I'll think about the name of the author. Money, Wealth, Life Insurance. Okay, here we go. It was written by Jake Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
If you read that book, it will show you how the wealthy have used life insurance. Remember in the beginning, I told you now there's a limit to how much money you can put in a life insurance policy?
Correct.
Okay. There wasn't always that limit where it is right now. It was a higher limit before. So these guys have been utilizing this thing for years before you and I even knew about an IUL and things that you can do with these types of policies. And I mentioned taxes. You can take money out of the life insurance tax free. Mm-hmm. It's because it's a loan.
Right.
No loan is ever taxed.
No. Right.
But as a loan, you don't have to necessarily pay back, because if it's your life insurance policy, there's no time frame for paying back the loan. If you die,
right,
then obviously they'll take that money out of the death benefit,
right,
and your family will get what's left out of the loan, right? So it's a very good thing. Another thing you touched on is you have $500,000 or people saving money in a savings account for their family.
Right.
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 Okay. Here's what a successful person. I don't like to say rich and poor. But successful people, here's what they do. If you have $500,000 in assets,
Mhm.
I am not going to take that money and put it in a taxable account somewhere.
Right.
Okay. I would take $25,000 out of that and take the 475 and invest it in something else.
Correct.
Take my 25,000 and open a $500 life insurance policy and put these same people on as beneficiaries. And I'll
Wow.
just be paying it small. At some point,
Right.
I died, they get 500,000 tax free.
Exactly.
What other alternative is there? I should go buy a house for 500,000 and then the kids have to pay taxes on it again.
Yeah.
Or it goes into probate.
You're right.
The probate system, man. Do you know that the guy who made Black Panther, the actor Chadwick,
Yeah.
he didn't have life insurance?
Wow.
Yeah, Prince, the musician, didn't have life insurance. Had about 200 million in assets. By the time the probate system got done, he only had about 100 million for his family.
Wow.
And then the lawyers take about 25%.
And mind you, at least, correct me if I'm wrong, I know for most companies, they take life insurance on their employees. Most contracts that is done in any deal that
Yes.
is a life insurance, which I think you're talking about that asset which these banks and corporations accumulate.
Yes.
So whether you have life insurance on yourself, your company may have life insurance on you.
Yeah, definitely.
It will
As a
benefit.
matter of fact, what you're talking about, there's a type of life insurance called key person
Correct.
life insurance.
Important people. Yeah.
Yes, that key person life insurance. If Willie Dillon is my CFO, Chief Financial Officer, I'm gonna get life insurance on him because if anything happens to him, it will take me time to get somebody to replace him, and it will cost me money.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you have the right, they call it insurable interest. You have the right to get life insurance on a key employee. You can also use life insurance, as a tool to attract and maintain talent. So let's say I have a small business and you work for me, Mr. Jones. I'm going to tell you, look, all these other businesses around here don't give you life insurance.
Right.
I will give you life insurance, 50,000. You don't even have to pay for it. If you die, I will give your family 50,000. Now, I may have opened up a $150,000 policy on you,
Right.
but if something happened to you, I will keep the 100 and give your family 50. I mean, you didn't pay for it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's still good. Then they have buy-sell agreements. Okay, if the three of us are in business together, we have our families and our spouse. They don't understand the business.
Right.
If something happens to one of us, you can't expect somebody's spouse to come in to run the business. No way. They're not even interested. So we open policies on each other for the value of the business. Let's say the business is $1 million. We all open up $1 million. You die, your $1 million, we pay your family, and then the business is ours. Simple, clear cut.
I'm really enjoying this. In fact, I think we got our national social security. Right here. So think about it. But what I was thinking, right? And this is one part of my policy. You can help me with it. What I wanted to do, and this goes more into health because that's another area you cover, right?
Yeah.
I think that the government, especially for low-income people in Liberia, right? People don't have a job. People, the government should pay the premium for these people. And it could even be like benefit added as well. But instead of people having to, you're building the government hospital and then the government building like JFK, people going there. What do you think about the government just saying, okay, we'll take X amount of money and people who are not working and people who live on a certain threshold, we will cover them. I know they did something like in Japan. We'll cover everybody from cradle to grave, right? So that way we don't have to build a hospital. When you're sick, right, you just go to any private hospital, right?
Yeah.
And if in that case, if you need to fly, not just the minister will fly, but now your policy, your health insurance policy, which the government can pay a company to cover the citizens that are not in a position. What do you think about doing something like that in Liberia?
I mean, I think it's laudable. It is a good thing to have universal health care. You know, the thing about healthcare, though, as you can see what's happening here in America, is that it tends to be a big money-making thing. You know, where especially if you have private companies, healthcare companies, you got pharmaceutical companies manufacturing the drugs and all of that. Those things add a cost to providing this free healthcare that you're talking about. But I don't think it stops. You know, Liberia has a lot of problems. Okay. Right. We have a lot of problems. I don't know that you can fix one problem in isolation of all the other connecting problems. And I think that's the challenge we as Liberians are facing right now. Is like we don't seem to connect in a way where we want to fix all the problems at the same time, which is what you're going to have to do. Absolutely. Know, I hear people talking about RIA, Roberts International Airport. You know, they have problems with the electricity and the flight guidance systems and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, you can devise ways to fix RIA, but it's connected to everything else.
Everything else, right. Pension and all that different stuff, right. Okay.
And I think we as Liberians have to seriously consider whether or not we want to live life the Liberian way, okay? Or tighten our boots and set the example, live life for our kids and our children's children. Think about the future for once. I think one of the things about our culture, and correct me if I'm wrong, but these are just things that I think about. I think we are too individualistic.
Absolutely.
Okay. And that's something that most of us are taught as kids is don't worry about the whole group. Worry about yourself first, and then think about the whole group. It's just that by the time you finish worrying about yourself, there's not enough to worry about the whole group. Exactly. So you have a situation where, for example, in a neighborhood in Liberia, we're not thinking about the roads that would get to your house. You're not thinking about, building something that blocks some waterway that's gonna flood out the whole neighborhood. People don't care about stuff like that. I'm just thinking about my house that I'm gonna build. All right.
Put it in a big fence.
How my house will look inside my yard should be like a oasis in a whole desert. They don't care. I mean, somebody could be living in abject poverty right next to you, living in a zinc shack, and you're in a mansion, and that's really not gonna bother so I just some of the things I think about.
Look at and that's a very interesting point, because a lot of time people ask me, okay, why you want to run for president? Why you obviously it's not for myself. I have children. I wanted to be able to go to Liberia. I wanted to be able to live there. I want to do investment in the country. Why would I go do investment, open a bank in Liberia or something when the infrastructure, like you said, things like insurance, things like retirement, they're not in place? So why do we put those things in place? Like you said, why don't we think collectively, not what I would benefit, personally, but long term, what the community will benefit? Because when Ebola came, whether you live in a mansion or you live in a zinc shack, both of you were at risk.
Yeah.
You don't fix the country things like healthcare. Somebody get a communicable disease. You may be, it will spread and it will affect you. Look at what happened to our finance minister now. The road money that they ate, okay? Fix the road, have emergency services. God forbid you would have died if it would have been worse. So if you don't fix that hospital in the county, why if you have an accident there? What time they'll bring you to Monrovia? Before they fly you out of the country, you'll be dead. So that's the reason we have to think collectively and say, I'm not doing this just for me. And that's been a pattern and that's been a culture. But we got to change that culture to make it where my success depends on your success. And that's how every other industrialized country look at it.
Yeah.
So, and that's part of the reason we're having this business and economic discussion. We want to bring other people so that we all together can, fix the place. Like, I don't know everything. I don't know half the thing Delon knows. But if he comes and you come and all other people come, engineers and, doctors, and maybe we can build our own insurance company and corporations.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the idea. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So I hope you'll be a regular member because, you're a very smart guy and what you're sharing is very informative. And, thanks for coming because a lot of people educated the insetting industry. They don't want to go around Liberians. They don't want to share what they know. They just want to work. So thank you so much, my brother. And I hope you really come on this program so we can talk about other things in other ways. Even if we don't fix it, at least some people can see it and say, this is what these guys are trying to do. Let's attempt it in our country. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I target Liberians when it comes to financial literacy and education. I don't listen to what people say. Oh, Liberians, you're wasting your time with them. They're not serious. I see that when Liberians are educated on something, they take it and they run with it. Okay, so it's just our job to get outside our shells and just educate our people. That's how I feel.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing, and that's what we're working on here. It's all about educating our people about business and how they can use instead of everyone depending on the government, how they can use their gifts and their talents towards progress. And I think what you're doing is great because we're all here outside of the country, right? But if you really look at Liberians, you'll find out that, and in most immigrant communities anyway, they spend a lot of money with their people back home. They send a lot of money back home. So the love may not just be with your wife and your children. You care about your nieces and nephews or your brothers and sisters back in Africa too. So what better way to contribute towards their livelihood? You got people here paying people tuition and everything in Africa. So that person can be a beneficiary too. And that's one thing you said today that I'm sure a lot of people didn't know. That you can have a beneficiary in Liberia and the money will be paid out to that person.
Yes. Somebody can be in Liberia and can be a beneficiary on your life insurance policy here. And if you die, pay them. Yes.
That's a major selling point, especially for our people. If you look at how much remittances are sent back, if at all, this could secure that person's future. This could secure the livelihood of your people back home. That's something that I think we should look into as Liberians and see how best, we could do that. That could be an investment in someone's future. So, and you being able to
some questions if it's possible. Some people listening will read out some questions. Take some questions or something. I mean, while we have you, we better utilize this time.
Yeah. So I have a 10-minute hard stop, so I can answer some questions.
So 5 minutes, so that way you prepare for your next meeting. Please come back again.
Absolutely.
All right.
Guys, I'm available anytime. Just reach out to me. I'm always in touch with Pastor Blaze, so she could reach out to me. I'll be happy to share.
Don't be a stranger. You don't need an invitation. You're a finance guy. Just come in whenever you can. You will always here on Mondays. So we.
Oh, okay.
You always
Okay.
that's an open. This is a business. This is a forum. It's not some
Okay.
person coming. We want it to be a discussion, and we all learn from each other. So come anytime.
I
All right.
think what
So
I think what you guys are doing is huge
Mhm.
in terms of getting information. I mean, think 20 years ago. I mean, 10 years ago, this sort of thing didn't exist.
no.
It did not exist. And now it's so many people are out there, relaying information, educating people. And I think it's a good thing. It will help Liberia.
Mhm.
Sharing our
Yeah.
expertise. You're right. You're right. Okay. Well, we don't have any questions at the moment. So what I
Mhm.
want us to do is to give you the floor
Okay.
in order for you to just let
So
people
close
know
out.
how they can contact you, because I know I'm going to be calling you. So how can they contact you? You know, how, the different, you already talked about different types of policies you have, but just tell us more about your business and how people can reach out to you, please.
Okay, well, I just put my number in the in the chat. I don't know if you have some way of putting it on the banner or
Okay.
not. Um,
Can
that's the easiest way to reach me. You can reach me on Facebook. Um, just my name, Borby Brople.
okay.
Um, you can reach me on Instagram, and I'm Borby Bro. So these are ways that I can be reached. I would put my email in there, but I've not one time have I had anybody reach me via email before. I think we're changing the way we communicate.
Right.
Um, yeah, so yeah, just call me, text me, or whatever. If you have questions, I can answer those questions. I'm a more of an insurance broker. I work with a lot of different companies, If you have somebody that doesn't have their green card or doesn't have their citizenship, that doesn't even have a social,
Mhm.
call me. All right. If you have somebody that that had cancer before and they recovered, call me. If you have somebody that is you know child, as long as they're 15 days old up until age 80,
Mhm.
Wow.
in some cases up to 85, call me.
Absolutely.
We can get them insurance. If you have somebody that does marijuana, that
Mhm.
smokes marijuana, they can even get the best rate,
Mhm.
right? Call
Really?
me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cigarette smoking, nicotine, that's a whole different ball game. That the rate will be higher.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's some.
Cigarette smoking is worse than marijuana use by far.
Correct.
I
By
didn't even
far.
know that. I didn't even know that.
Somebody
Okay.
can use marijuana and still get the best rate. But if you smoke,
Right.
you
And
pay 3-4 times the cost.
yep.
Wow.
Okay. And that's one of the things that I want to talk to parents, is because things are changing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You have a lot of kids now getting engaged in smoking hookah.
Hookah.
Okay. Sometimes there's nicotine. It was so sad. I had a client who had a daughter who
Mm-hmm.
was only like 17, 18. This girl should have gotten a policy for about $25 a month or $30 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out, she smokes hookah and there was nicotine in the hookah,
Right.
and her price was 4 times the cost.
Right.
Wow.
I say that to say that's a reality that's being injected in our society today.
Mm-hmm.
It
So
is.
the kids need to be covered quickly,
Right.
because you can't control what they get into later on, right?
Excellent.
So that's what I want my people to know. Life insurance is not the only thing that I do. Chuchu mentioned annuities. So
Okay.
life insurance is good for somebody who has good health or relatively good health, and it benefits you if you don't live too long. Annuities benefits you if you live too long, right?
Mm.
So an annuity is a type of life insurance contract where you're basically putting some money on the side into this policy, and that money will grow for some years, a certain number of years, and then it will serve as a source of income for you later on.
Okay.
You ever heard of pensions? At back in the day, people used to have pensions at their jobs.
Right.
Fixed income.
Those were,
Yeah.
those were essentially annuities.
No,
They
okay.
put money aside for some time, and then later on, the annuities pay out. Like you see a lot of people losing their jobs right now
Right.
and quitting or retiring. Those old 401ks, we are able to just take that whole thing and put it into an annuity so that it can be protected, especially if you do a fixed index annuity. Most people have lost about 20% in their 401k already. If you have an IRA, you probably lost like 22% so far this year. Okay? So you take that money and put it into an annuity and it protects your money. You don't lose anything. It has a chance to grow, but the point is you don't lose anything. Some of them even give you a bonus when you put it in there, 10%, 20% bonus when you start. So there's so many ways to help people out there. The most important thing is to speak to somebody and sit down. I don't charge people, you know. I do a free financial review, and I mean, who doesn't want something that's free? You know.
Okay. Well, Mr. Buplet, I mean, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure having you on the show today. I do believe in my deepest of hearts that we're going to have you back on the show again, because just from you explaining about the annuities, we see that there's more that we can tap
Yes.
into, and I feel that this would be a great help for our people, for Liberians, and it will help us to at least be able to build a solid foundation for the ones that we love and the ones that we care about. So, Alex.
Yes, sir.
And I want to say officially, you're a member of the Business and Economic Forum. Now, officially, all right, you're a member of my economic team on insurance and policy.
Oh wow, that sounds like I'm gonna get a fat pay raise. Thank you so much.
We're talking about that. So we're calling on you for a lot of consultation and help.
I'm always available.
And anytime we do the show, hopefully we'll share some of your information. We'll talk about insurance, who to contact. We want us to support our own Liberian professionals.
Yeah.
So don't go buy insurance for anybody. This is somebody in your community. He has a certification, just like anybody else. So you support your own. We're going to be appreciative.
I believe strongly in that, supporting your own. And that's why I get my my property and cash, my home and auto. I always get it from a Liberian.
From a Liberian. Great.
Yeah, we gotta keep the money circulating in our community, and it would generate more wealth for us. Seriously, we're losing billions and billions. In Georgia alone, we're about 25,000 Liberians in Georgia.
Wow. So imagine that.
If you're in Minnesota, that's another 40,000 Liberians. Imagine how much money is leaving our community. And of course we have to be professional too. The way we treat each other, we have to respect each other. Okay, we shouldn't only respect other people, we have to respect each other. We have to. Okay. All right, gentlemen.
And next time, hopefully you can tell other young Liberians who won't get into the industry. We'll hope
they get into the industry.
Help them be there.
Yeah. That's one of the things I do. I train people in how to get in the industry. As a matter of fact, I have a team right now of about 25 licensed agents.
Excellent.
And most of them are Liberian. They're in so many. I'm licensed in about 32 states. So I have my hands across the country. Most of the areas I have Liberians, I'm already there. And more and more Liberians are getting, even if it's just a side thing to generate some income. Or one of the big things that's affecting people is taxes. A lot of people work jobs and they're not able to write off anything in terms of taxes. Well, this is one way. Starting as an insurance agent is a way to be able to write off your phone bill, your gas mileage, your internet. That's something everybody is paying, and you can write those things off. So, we'll talk about that next time.
For But thank you for coming, Dylan.
Thank you. Thank you once again. Look forward to
My pleasure. My pleasure.
learning more.
My pleasure. And you can put my number out there too, if or my Facebook.
I'm on your page right now, so we'll work on some flyers and stuff for you. Don't worry, we'll hook you
Okay.
up. All right.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right.
Appreciate it.
All
Have
right.
a good day now. Bye bye.
All right. All right. Well, I think that's it, and we'll wrap. Yeah, Dylan's off again. We'll see you next week. Next week we're going to come on a little earlier. Around
Okay.
people in Liberia can have an opportunity to be part of it. Again, thank you again, Mr. Brooklyn. We appreciate it, and thanks to all of
Thanks
you.
a lot.
See you next week. Bye bye.